Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen, and today we're going to be making a shredded beef sandwich inspired by the shredded beef sandwich from Carved in Dublin, Ireland. I know I say this about a lot of things, but this shredded beef sandwich has got to be the best sandwich I've ever had in my entire life. And I know that that's a big statement, but this sandwich was just that delicious. The sandwich that we had from Carved had the shredded, slow-cooked beef topped with arugula, caramelized onions, garlic aioli, and sandwiched in between two pieces of white bread. Now, this sandwich seems really simple, but I promise you all of the flavor that is packed into it makes the time that it takes to make it 100% worth it. So let's get into it.
To start, we'll need 3 pounds of a chuck roast, Montreal steak seasoning, some salt, black pepper, avocado oil or olive oil, beef bouillon, vermouth, Worcestershire sauce, some butter, and a head of garlic. For the sandwich, we'll need ciabatta bread, some arugula, provolone cheese, 2 lemons, some Kewpie mayo or Japanese mayo, and more garlic. For special equipment, you'll need a pressure cooker, a flat pan to toast your bread, a measuring cup for the beef broth, and a small bowl for the garlic aioli. To start cooking, we'll first need to brown our chuck roast. So here I'm just heating up about 3 to 4 tablespoons of the avocado oil to brown all sides of the meat. Here I have 3 pounds of chuck roast, and I'm going to season all sides, even the edges, with Montreal seasoning. Montreal seasoning is a mix of salt, pepper, garlic, onion, paprika, and other forms of spices. Using this on all sides, seasoning very heavily, will add to a lot of flavor in the end product. So please, please, please heavily season the meat. Here, you're just going to brown one side for about 3 to 4 minutes. You want to have a good sear on both sides, so if it needs longer than 4 minutes, go ahead and wait that extra minute or two. But about 3 to 4 minutes later, go ahead and flip the chuck roast to the other side and brown the other side. We're also going to add about 4 cloves of garlic to the chuck roast pot. Here I'm just peeling it and smashing it. You don't want to chop up the garlic because the whole pieces are going to slow cook with the pot roast. Next, we're going to prepare the broth. So here I have 2 cups of water and about 4 tablespoons of that beef bouillon. But you can use beef broth here as well in place of the beef bouillon and water. Here I'm adding about 1/4 of a cup of vermouth, but you can always omit the alcohol here as well. I'm adding in the 2 cups of beef broth to the pot, and then I added 1 more cup of water to this container because there was some extra bouillon at the bottom. So in total, 3 cups of beef broth and then 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I forgot to mention this earlier in the ingredients, but you also need 1 onion to make caramelized onions. And here I'm just prepping it to cook in the pan. These do take a long time just because you want the onions to caramelize on their own without having to add any sugar. So I have split the onion into thirds and then thinly sliced it from there. This does reduce by about half, so if you want more caramelized onions, go ahead and cut up 1 more. Now we're going to transfer our pot into the pressure cooker. I'm using a Pampered Chef pressure cooker, so it takes around 35 minutes. But whatever pot you have, just set it to the beef or pork setting and use that. Or if you just have a regular pressure cooker, cook it for about 45 minutes to an hour or until the meat is tender. In the meantime, we're going to cook our caramelized onions. So here I just have a small saute pan and I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of butter along with about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Having both forms of fat helps caramelize the onions. I don't know what kind of science goes into that, but it just does. I also added about 3 cloves of garlic that we're going to put into our garlic aioli. So we're just going to let this caramelize and reduce down until everything is a nice golden color. This took about 20 to 25 minutes. Just be patient with it. I promise it'll be worth it. Also add in some salt to taste. And then I also added in some vermouth, but again, you don't have to add the alcohol if you don't want to. It's totally optional. After adding the vermouth, you want to let this cook for another 5 to 10 minutes just to cook off the alcohol. And here you can see it reduced by about 3/4. I let this sit on the stove after turning it off and it reduced by a little bit more. But it ended up being this really nice dark golden color and the onions had a sweet taste to them. Here's the garlic that I fried with the onions. It got really soft and was almost spreadable. I just chopped it into chunks because I wanted to taste the garlic all throughout our garlic aioli. And then I went ahead and added it to our bowl that we set aside earlier. Here I have 1 whole lemon. We're only going to use half for the aioli, so just squeeze that half of the lemon into the bowl. Next, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of Kewpie mayo right into the bowl along with the lemon juice and crushed garlic. We're going to add in some parsley, which is totally optional. I didn't include it in the ingredients list, but it just adds some color. And then some of that black pepper. Then we're going to mix everything all together. And there you have garlic aioli. Next, we're going to prepare the arugula. You can always add this onto your sandwich plain, but I like to dress mine before I put it on a sandwich. So I'm just adding a couple tablespoons of olive oil, the juice of the other half of the lemon, and some salt to taste. After giving this a quick toss, we have our arugula topping. After about 45 minutes, our chuck roast was done. So I just removed it from the pot and into a separate bowl to make it easier to shred. After 45 minutes, the meat was pretty tender, but some of it that wasn't under the cooking liquid didn't get as tender as I wanted it to be. So I just added some more cooking liquid and then shredded it with forks, which made it a lot easier. Now we're going to start building our sandwiches. Here I have a ciabatta loaf that I'm just going to cut into how big we wanted our sandwiches. You can also use baguette bread, regular white bread, or the pre-cut ciabatta rolls. I just like this texture of bread for my sandwiches, but feel free to use whatever white bread you would like. Now stay with me, but we're going to use Kewpie mayo to toast our bread. It toasts the bread exactly like butter does, but I figured since we're already using mayo in our aioli, might as well use mayo to toast our bread. So trust me on this one. You can also use butter if you want, but use the mayo. We're going to toast both sides of the bread until they're golden brown. You can check every 30 seconds or so. Mine didn't take very long, so just make sure you keep an eye on it. Now for assembly. So we're going to add some of that garlic aioli to one side of the bread. If you want more, go ahead and add more. I'm not going to stop you. It'll probably taste really good with both. Then we're going to add on our shredded beef. You can add on as little or as much as you want. We piled ours on there. So just put as much as your heart desires. If you have leftovers, this would be really good on some nachos or baked potatoes. You really could top this with anything. Go ahead and make this when you have the time. You can even put it in a crock pot and let it cook while you're at school, at work, want something for dinner. Go ahead and put this in the crock pot and you have dinner for at least like 2 days. Next, we're going to add on a slice of provolone cheese. I tore this one in half just so it fits the bread better. And then we're going to add on our arugula topping. We added on a lot just because I like the peppery flavor. I also added the caramelized onions. It was mixed in with the beef. I just forgot to show it separately. Let's talk about cost. So in total, I spent $69.41 for all of the ingredients. That made about 8 sandwiches, so $8.67 per sandwich. Keeping in mind that you can reuse a lot of these ingredients to make the cost a lot less. Thank you for watching another one of my restaurant remakes. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for another one. Bye.